dedicated to Islamophobia in the world today. I would like to start with a quote, an awful quote. So the quote is, "Why are we using the word Palestinian? There is no such thing as a Palestinian person," end quote. Are these the words of the infamous Prime Minister of Israel in '69, Golda Meir, denying the existence of the people she helped push out of their homeland? No, this is 2016 in the US. And it's a lawyer who is also the head of a pro-Israeli group that describes itself as the legal arm of the pro-Israel community. And this lawyer recently pressed charges against the University of San Francisco for anti-Semitism, criminalizing the movement of Palestinian and solidarity towards Palestinians in the US today. So 48 years later, after Golda Meir's declaration, we see the same narrative now in the US. It's against the attempt to erase Palestinian existence from contemporary history. Denying the very existence of an entire people is essentially racist. I mean, that's about how racist you can get. Yet, a Google search about this news will not result in press stories denouncing a racist discourse or portraying its author as a negationist. Imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if a Palestinian lawyer claimed that Israelis don't exist. The internet would be full of outraged op-eds and denouncing this lawyer as an anti-Semite. This silence about this event is meaningful. It tells us who is considered a legitimate target of racism and who is not. It also tells us who will be considered a victim of racism and who will not. In short, it asks the question of who defines the terms of the conversation, the question of power. Who can tell the terms? At the same time, in Western societies, similar racist discourses are extended to all Muslims living in those countries, with Islamophobic discourses being widespread well beyond the traditional ultra-right groups, reaching the mainstream political groups and media. There is a great responsibility of intellectuals, journalists, and politicians in the reinforcements of Islamophobia. An example of my country, which I know best, because we are the champions of the most ridiculous expressions of Islamophobia today. We have the polemic about the beach attire of Muslim women, where the police go to the beach to see how women are dressed and if they need to be fined or sent to their houses or not. Like, it's the crime that they need to address first, right? And we also have directors of schools who have to measure the skirts to see if they're too long, or the scarves to see if a little bit of hair is coming out of the... We have the administration, the French administration, doing this, like if it was a priority, right? So these debates would sound absurd and comic if it was not for the destructive and abusive consequences over the life of Muslim people living in France. I'm talking about France because I know it best, but you can apply that to many countries in Europe today. The increase in the aggressions against Muslim women and against Muslim youth in general at the hand of the police is epidemic. In France now, it's about once a week that we hear that someone was beaten by the police or killed. These Islamic discourses affect greatly the way Muslims are perceived by the population of these countries. It creates a racist idea that somehow, when Arabs are beaten by the police, there is a good reason for it. Muslims are always suspected to be potential terrorists, and they are perceived as an interior enemy. At a global scale, since 2002, many Arab Muslim countries have been destroyed. We had the Al-Sisi coup d'etat against the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. many military interventions in Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, and Yemen. The Western governments, in order to do these interventions, need to explain to their citizens that it's necessary, because it might not be an evidence that a French, in a little village needs its country to go and take Gaddafi out of power. Why? So they need to explain and they need to convince. And that's where this Islamophobic discourse comes in. They need it. They need Islamophobia. So it's not something that has evolved, that has to do with migration or crime, or it's something that is constructed. It's an Orientalist discourse. Edward Said has told about that a long time ago, that has been constructed.